Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this session on understanding emotional intelligence and SCARF model to become happier. This is our third session in the series Stress to Smiles. In the first session, we talked about what is stress, what causes stress. In the second session, we talked about using mindfulness as a strategy to beat stress. And today, in the third session, we will understand what is emotional intelligence, uh, and how it can help us become happier, perform better, and the SCARF model, which is given to us by Dr. David Rock. I'll request each one of you to keep your cameras on. The session today is based on three books. This is my research of these three books: Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman, Your Brain at Work by Dr. David Rock, and Search Inside Yourself by Jade Meng Ten. You can take a screenshot of this you want, and if you want to pursue this field more, you can read these books. Also, I would urge you to keep actively involved in the session today. This topic is very wide. It is multidimensional, and we will not be able to cover everything in the 75 to 80 minutes of the session today. So there is one aspect that we are going to cover today. However, you can get a lot of value from the session by discussions and questions, and also by practicing what you learn here. So stay actively involved. Keep your cameras on. Raj Kumari says she's got network issues, but those of you who can keep your cameras on, keep your cameras on. That really facilitates interaction. Now, I would like to understand from you, what do you think of Kabir Singh? You would have seen this movie, and what comes to your mind when you think of Kabir Singh movie? Sorry?
I didn't like that movie
You didn't like the
because
movie?
no,
Yeah.
no, not at all. Because it's just an alpha male type of
Yeah.
personality.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for
And
sharing that,
yes,
Deepak.
yes.
Anybody else? Dysfunctional. Thank you, Anamika. I haven't seen it. Okay. So,
I
for
I did
those of
not get Ashish ji, I did not get the name of the movie, but you said it
Kabir
was.
Singh, Kabir Singh,
Oh yes, yes. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
What did you like or dislike about the movie? Is the question. And do you think Kabir Singh was an intelligent guy, or was he dumb?
I will not say he's dumb,
Ah,
but he was not also intelligent.
yeah. He was intelligent because he is studying in one
But
of high IQ, because he's studying in one of the
oh, okay, okay,
best medical colleges,
okay,
but emotionally not so intelligent. Okay.
emotionally.
So that is what we are going to understand today, that you could have very high IQ, but if your ability to manage your emotions is poor, it can land you in serious trouble. That is one aspect of emotional intelligence. Second is, I would like to share my interaction with one of the IPS officers. So some of you might know that I coach IAS students for UPSC exams on mindfulness and peak performance. And while I was preparing for one of the sessions, I had an interaction with an IPS officer, and he said he took more than one attempt to clear his UPSC. And what happened the first time around was, when he was appearing for the exam, he made a mistake. He got one question wrong, and because of that, he got so nervous that his next nine questions also he answered wrongly. He got so nervous. Okay, and then obviously he couldn't make it through the IAS exam that year, and then he appeared for the IAS second year, and then he cracked it, and today he's a very successful IPS officer. So this is another thing which happens, when we are not able to see. If you get one question wrong, it is okay, but the emotions that go when you get that question wrong can make or break the show for us. And this happens in exams, this happens at workplace, this happens, we make one mistake and then we completely get sucked into it. Look at the next one, which is PV Sindhu, and she is Olympic gold medal. But this came out in the paper today that she has lost the quarterfinals of Spanish tournament. Now, somebody who's an Olympic gold medal loses, and she's seeded number 1 and she loses to seeded number 6 just because she's not able to manage her emotions well. She beat her racket on the floor and she got fined, and so many emotions. So the point I'm trying to make is, if we can't manage our emotions well, then however good you might be, however skilled you might be, however intelligent you might be, you can still lose the game. You can lose one game, or you can lose the game of life, depending on how quickly you are able to come back and revive the situation. So that's the background of our session today. And we are going to understand what are emotions. And let's begin by understanding what are emotions. And emotion is something which is very powerful. It is emotion in motion. They have got the power to move us. And let us understand.
Can I say something? So
Yes.
it becomes energy in motion, right?
It is energy in motion. Very well said. And what happens is, if I'm just thinking about something, I may not act on it. But if I'm feeling angry, then I may slap someone, or I may shout at someone. Or if I'm feeling fearful, then I may kill someone. Or if I'm feeling happy, I may dance. So emotions have the power to move you, and that is why, and sometimes they overpower you. If they're moving us in a constructive way, it is good. But sometimes they overpower us and we completely lose the ability to think rationally and act. So there are many. So somebody was talking to me about the Tandoor Kand. I'm not sure if you know about the Tandoor Kand, which happened in, I think, 80s or 80s sometime. And this person, he hacked his wife completely and then stuffed her body in the tandoor. And what had happened was, his wife was having an affair, and obviously the husband didn't like it. And when he came one day home, she was talking to her boyfriend. And when he asked her, he suspected that she's talking to someone, her ex-boyfriend. He asked, whom are you talking to? Whom were you talking to? And she said, I was talking to my mother. And this guy, what he did was, he redialed the phone, and then he realized that it was not the mother, but the boyfriend. And in that 1 minute, he completely lost himself. And then he killed his wife, and then he hacked her, and then he stuffed her body in. So if we are not able to manage our emotions, then there can be many disastrous situations that can happen. And the reason we are not able to manage our emotions is because we are not really taught to tune into our emotions and listen to them. They are our guide, but if we don't pay attention to what our emotions are telling us, then we can completely get lost. Listening to our emotions can help us guide in our journey. So, we may be happy, we may be sad. Then what do we do about it? And sometimes we don't pay attention to sometimes we don't pay attention to our emotions because we are not taught how to deal with them. And that is partly what we are going to do in the session today. We'll do a practice, mindfulness practice, which will help us tune into our body and begin to understand. I'm not sure that in one session we can really master listening to our emotions, but at least I'll be happy if you can make a beginning by tuning into the sensations of our body, which will guide us on this path of listening to our emotions. Uh, the emotional, having understood what emotions are, what the emotional intelligence is about, it works at 3 levels. One is understanding the emotions in our own self. then understanding emotions in the other person, and then understanding the emotions in the environment that we are operating in. And Daniel Goleman talks in his book about emotional intelligence that it first starts with awareness of our own emotions, which is what we talked about in the previous session on mindfulness, how to be aware. Then once we become aware, then we can regulate our emotions. If I'm feeling angry, it starts showing in my body first. My breath may become shallow, my ears may become red, there might be blood in my hands, I may feel like punching. So there is always a bodily reaction which accompanies emotions. And then how do we motivate ourselves to act or not? And then recognizing the emotions in others. When we become emotionally intelligent at our level first, then we can become better in sensing emotions of other people. And then, our relationships overall become better. So that is what emotional intelligence in a nutshell is. I'll pause here to see if you have any questions or comments so far before we move on. And once again, I'll request everyone to please keep their cameras on. Any questions, comments? Okay. Feel free to participate actively. That's how we'll be able to derive more value from the session today. The next, I would like to talk about what is being an emotional fool. Who do you call a emotional fool? Emotional intelligence, we have understood that it's somebody who understands their own emotions, discerns their own emotions, understands the emotion of other people, and can regulate their own emotions. Who is an emotional fool? And this is not a test of your knowledge. This is just understanding what do we think of. Okay, Dr. Joey. What is emotional? You can at least unmute and speak. What do you think? And it's not a test of knowledge of what is right or wrong, but just a common understanding. Who do we call emotional fool? Whom do we call an emotional fool?
Ashish, I'd like to respond to that. An emotional fool is somebody who, in an unfiltered way, pours out the emotions without seeing, without understanding what's really happening with him, why the outburst, and also what the impact would be on the other person.
Absolutely right, Dr. Nilofer. That is absolutely right. No doubts about that. Emotional fool is also a person when are driven by, that's also very nice, Himlata. When our actions are driven by emotions, not caring about the long-term impact and relationships with others. So we don't understand either our own emotions or our actions are not aligned with our long-term goals, and and so on and so forth. Sometimes if somebody operates from the heart center, we say this person is an emotional fool. He's not thinking logically, he's thinking from a heart. And I would I was at IIM Nagpur. I coached some students there, and they asked me. They are about to set off on their journey in the corporate sector, and they asked me this question: what is it one thing that we can do to be successful in our career? And I said, be emotionally intelligent. And my own journey, and I've spoken about it many times. I'll not delve into it too much detail, but my own journey has been of becoming emotionally intelligent from being an emotional fool. I lost my father in 1994, and as a result, I didn't realize it then. I realized it only when I started working on myself. But my response was to become a robot. My response was to clamp down on my emotions, not to feel, because suddenly I became the man of the house and I had to take care of my mom, my sister. So I didn't really even cry properly. And I just became a robot, working and working and working and not feeling. I just won't feel into it, and that had terrible consequences on my health, my relationships, and many other ways. And in the last 5 to 10 years is when gradually I've started working and getting in touch with emotions, and my life is so much more fulfilling now. It's so much more meaningful now. So that is the power of getting in tune. Uh, there is another way to look at it, is opening yourself up, becoming more vulnerable. And there is a beautiful TED talk by Dr. Brene Brown on vulnerability, and that was one of the turning points. When I listened to that TED talk, I started understanding what a damage I had done to myself by being an emotional fool, not really tuning into my emotions. And the second second thing which helped me a lot in becoming emotionally intelligent was this exercise. And you can take a screenshot of this if you like, which was given to me by my coach, Thaddeus Lawrence. We were once I was once having a session with him, and it was about goal setting. I think this was 2021, maybe end of 2020 and 2021. And he asked me to set some goals for 21. And I set the goals, and he asked me, what do you feel about this? And I said, I don't feel anything. And he said, what does it tell you about yourself? And then I realized that there was this gap. And then he asked me to do this exercise, which is tune into the emotions and understand what is the intensity of emotion, what brought about that emotion, what am I learning about myself, and where in the body did I feel the emotion. And when I started doing that, these questions look very simple, but are extremely powerful. When I started journaling this, and he insisted that I write, not type. He insisted that I write it, and I used to write these questions and write my response to these questions and share with him on a daily basis. And over a period of 1 month, I realized that it is such a transformative experience, and my life has constantly been getting better and better, every day since then. And I also spoke about the Dr. David Hawkins emotional energy scale. And, from a low energy emotion of feeling grief, fear, insecurity, anger, I started moving up and up. And, the external environment reflected that. I'll pause here to see if you have any questions or comments before we move on to understanding where in our body lie emotions, how to tune into it. Yes, Dr. Lenofer.
Yeah, so Ashish, sometimes, there are certain emotions that we go through, and like when I've asked myself, like, what could be causing those emotions, I'm not able to get an answer. So, what do you think could be happening? There are some very straightforward, no? Let's say somebody's humiliated you and you feel bad about it or something. There are certain emotions where I'm not able to, sort of track the root cause.
I think that's a great question, Dr. Nilofer. And what I'll share with you what I do. Many a times it is important to just ask the question and not worry about when the answer will come. And sometimes answers come like this. Sometimes it comes in a couple of hours. Sometimes it takes days. It takes months also. But the answer will come for sure. This is my assurance to you, that the answer will come. Once you ask a question, the answer will come. We just need to be open. Sometimes it's an aha moment. I was thinking this then, and this is why this happened, Suddenly somewhere, when you're in a walk, listening to music, doing something else, there will be an aha moment. But answers come for sure. As long as you're convinced, it's my firm belief that answers come. And that is why I get the answers. And that is what I would urge you to have, that belief that the answers come. The universe responds, the brain responds, it will respond. And don't worry if the answers are not. Our job, we in the first session, we talked about controlling the controllable. So what we can control is ask the question. So you ask the question, let the answer come.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Yes, Shilpa.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So I just think we have to be careful here. So when you ask for what kind of emotions, usually we answer with adjectives. So good, bad, those are adjectives. Those are not emotions.
There is,
so
Shilpa, there is some disturbance. Could you please type your question in the chat?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're not able to hear you clearly. We'll be happy to hear any questions or comments from others while Shilpa is typing your question.
आशीष कुमार जी नमस्कार।
Namaste, Group Captain Shrikant.
मुझे अगर if I can ask this question, when you dealt with your own problem or issue, I'm saying literally it was problem or otherwise, but did you find any time that yes, you were not in a position to handle your emotions, or it gradually someone else brought to your
No, I was not. I was not. I kind of knew it because there would be outbursts, or it played out in many different levels. It played out in my personal life. It played out in my professional life, and I have spoken about it earlier also. Like I worked in many American companies with very aggressive work cultures, and what mattered was deliver the results come what may, even if you have to walk over a dead body. So that was also a part, and I could do that and be successful, partly because I was not really into building relationships. I was more into delivering results on the outcomes, but not feeling what the other person could be feeling. So if somebody is not doing the work I want him to do, just go out and whip him rather than be compassionate. Today I would deal, even if somebody is, and it's not about being soft. Today, if somebody is not delivering what I expect a person to deliver, my approach would be very different. It would be trying to understand why the person is not able to deliver, rather than just whip at him, why have you not delivered this? Results may come in both, but what is sustainable success is when, you are compassionate, when I am compassionate. That is the different. I don't know if I've answered your question, Group Captain Shrikant, but
yeah. But another aspect to this same thing is, was it that before your father's demise, you were more relationship oriented?
Before my father's death,
Yeah.
my
Relationship versus results. But did you concentrate?
So my father passed soon after I passed out of college, so I had not really worked. So the results were academic results, and relationships were mostly friendships, not in the professional environment concept. Maybe I was, maybe I think I have been an emotional, relationship oriented person, which kind of got cut off when my father passed away, and then I just became a robot and work, get the work done, not caring so much about myself also, and not paying attention to my own feelings, and completely ignoring myself. And that also has self-worth issues, because when you are not paying attention to yourself, somewhere you feel that you're not worthy of your own love. And then it plays out at many different levels.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Shilpa's question is how to get out of the loop of an emotion. So, Shilpa, I don't know if I understand this right, but one of the ways to do it is be grateful, and this may sound surprising, but we can be grateful for anything that happens to us. We can look for things to be grateful for any situations. Like I'll share my own example. When I passed away, my father, when I lost my father, I was 24 years old recently. And somehow I, would feel that because my father was not there, I got um, caught up with family responsibilities. My career was not, didn't really reach the level it could have reached. But recently I met someone who lost his father when he was 9 months old, and he is highly successful. The point I'm trying to make is, if we are grateful, I could have been grateful that, at least I had the company of my father for first 24 years versus that friend who lost his father when he was 9 months old. And then I could have reframed and, have a different career trajectory rather than keep blaming, keep being in grief, keep being in a low energy emotion. So gratitude is one very simple and very powerful practice which can help break this loop of being in negative emotions. I'll be happy to discuss more about this later, if not now. so that you get a perspective on this. Shilpa,
Can
does that
I
help?
can I put in a bit, sir?
Of course, Brigadier Badr.
Uh, in addition to what you said, yes, gratitude is one of the most important aspects as far as the emotional loop is concerned. I think if you can halt in that loop for a moment and think uh, as to what is happening and why has that emotion come up, and if you can justify the action of the other person who is affecting your, I think you will be able to answer that emotion in a proper manner. You will be able to take a correct step. Am I audible?
Yes,
I'm
we
not
can hear
seeing
you,
the
Brigadier
screen.
Badr.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So the that art of halting in an emotional loop has
Very
to
true.
be mastered. And once you halt there, then you think as to why this thing has happened. Why am I troubled? If that emotion is troubling. So I think you can then control that emotion and then come out of the loop over to.
Very powerful share, Brigadier Vidur, and I think Dr. Nilofer has also shared pause is the key, So when we are in that endless loop, pausing and recognizing, yes, waiting a while, and not get sucked into it is the key. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much. Shilpa, does that help? You have 3 different perspectives now, Shilpa. Anyway, we'll Rajkumari ji, please.
Yeah, Ashish, and I was just responding to you talking about your father's death and the kind of, numbness at that point of time, not feeling any feelings, and having gone through 2 major traumas in my life. What I realized is that, why is it that sometimes you don't feel any emotions? You feel just that you're so numb. I think that emotional numbness can occur when you are going through very high stress hormones in your life, and it can exhaust your physical body. Like, I remember when I lost my husband, it was 1 year of running up and down the hospitals every day, and when he went away, I didn't feel anything for quite some time because the body was exhausted. And I think it is the combination of this feeling drained out and consequently not being able to even give time to yourself in terms of why you're feeling what you're feeling. That could be one. Or the second thing that I went through, probably, and that's what I'm sharing with you, that numbness may also be a coping mechanism to prevent more pain entering your
Yeah.
your system or your feelings, because you just want to push it away. You don't want to even accept it. You don't want to even confront that emotion. So then that also can cause sometimes numbness, and you feel you're not feeling anything.
Yeah.
I don't know, just sharing that experience that I went through. Yeah.
No, completely resonate with that, Rajkumari ji, and that is what my strategy also was. And sometimes it, numbness also means drinking yourself numb. You don't, or eating yourself. Eating, overeating, or doing something or overworking. It can play out in that. How we numb ourselves can happen in different ways. And but the thing is, we're trying to numb ourselves. And what I learned from Brent Brown's TED talk was, when we numb our pain, we can't numb any emotion selectively. We also numb our capability to feel joy. We numb our capability to feel happiness and so many other powerful emotions. So that is when I started opening myself up to feeling the pain, and so that I could feel the pleasure also. So that is what.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and it affects your physical
Yeah, it does. It
body
does.
also. Like, for
Of
me, it
course.
manifested itself within 2 years. It manifested into a cancer. And I think that was probably because of all those suppressed emotions. So it can be very dangerous, when you suppress emotions, when you don't know what you're feeling, when you're not talking about it. But I think just talking with people who can who can understand you, or they're just there for you to listen. Just listen to you, listen to your feelings. I think that's a big thing which you feel is missing in the environment today, probably.
Very, very well said. Suppression has got disastrous consequences, and today even the science is coming around to believing that most of the diseases have psychosomatic causes. So when we repress emotions, then it comes out in some other form in the body, and that is why also to your point about people listening non-judgmentally is why we have sessions like this. And for this particular series, we are not putting out these recordings in public so that people can express and share without being anybody else knowing about it. You can be comfortable sharing. So that is the reason we thought we will do that. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Can I ask one more question, Ashish ji?
Sure.
Like when we are talking about suppression of emotions, when we talk about controlling your emotions, how do we correlate between these two? Sometimes we get too much angry, but then we control our anger. Sometimes we are too sad, but still we want to control our sadness. We don't want to cry or make people see that you're crying, you're weak, that kind of a stuff. If that also, that also counts under suppression of emotions, or these are two different.
See, when you are trying, suppression is when you don't want to deal with it and you just put it away, you lock it down, you suppress it, you don't want to do with it. When you're trying to control it, it's still better because you're aware and you're doing something about it. So controlling, though I don't agree that we can really control, maybe we can become aware and manage it. Controlling is still negative, awareness and regulating it, managing it is better than controlling, and controlling is better than suppression. That is the stack, how it stacks up, Group Captain Srikanth.
Suppression is more of a denial mode, we can say that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And there is a question from Dharmesh: how do we take a pause when you're caught up in web of emotions? And Dharmesh will shortly get into a body scan exercise, which will be about 20 minutes. So that can be an answer. That is one of the ways in which we can do by tuning in to our sensations. And this is also based on the Vipassana meditation that I think Srilata has mentioned about. So we will, there's a very good way to segue into a mindfulness meditation, body scan, because a lot of our emotions lie in our body, like Rajkumarji was also sharing. And if we suppress them, then it comes out in a different way. So let us tune into our body by doing a body scan meditation. This is a very powerful meditation where we tune into the sensations in our body. And this is how I learned about becoming emotionally intelligent, by tuning into what's happening. So in fact, when I do my coaching sessions, sometimes I just close my eyes and not listen to the words my coachee is saying, but tune into the sensations of how I'm feeling about what the other person is saying, and then come up with a thought on what the other person should do. So on that note, I invite you to settle down. You could do this sitting or lying down. So take your choice. If you're sitting, please keep your back and neck straight, palms open, palms on your lap, open facing the sky, back and neck straight but not stiff, eyes gently closed, chin parallel to the ground. And in case you're lying down, you can have your arms by your side, palms facing the sky, and bring your awareness to your breath. And take several long, deep breaths. Breathe in fully. Exhale slowly. Breathe in through your nose. And you may exhale through your nose or mouth. Feel your stomach expand on every inhale and relax as you exhale. When we blow air into a balloon, it expands. And when we let go of the air, it contracts. Similarly, let your belly expand when you breathe in and relax when you breathe out. Begin to let go of the noises around you. Begin to shift your attention from the outside to inside of yourself. Slowly bring your attention down to your feet and observe the sensations in your feet. It could be sensation arising from touch of your feet on the ground or feel of air on your soles. Whatever the sensation may be, just notice without any judgment. You may want to wiggle your toes a little. And in case you don't feel any sensation at all, that is fine too. Just allow yourself to feel the sensation of not feeling anything. Continue to breathe. When you're ready, move your attention up to your ankles, calves, knees and thighs, and observe the sensations you are experiencing throughout your legs. It could be touch of clothes against the skin or anything else that you may be experiencing. If your mind begins to wander during this exercise, gently notice this without judgment. And bring your mind back to noticing these sensations in your legs. If you notice any discomfort, pain, or stiffness, don't judge this. Simply notice it. Observe how all sensations rise and fall, shift and change, moment to moment. Notice how no sensation is permanent. Just observe and allow these sensations to be in the moment. Just as they are. Breathe in, breathe out. On your next breath, move your attention to the sensations in your lower back and pelvis area. Softening and releasing as you breathe in and out. Slowly move your attention up to mid back and upper back. Become curious about the sensations here. You may become aware of the sensations in the muscle, temperature, or the points of contact with furniture, your clothes, or the bed. With each out breath, let go of the tension that you may be carrying. Continue to breathe. Very gently shift your attention to your stomach and all the internal organs there. Notice the process of belly rising or falling with each breath. If you notice Any opinion arising about this area? Gently let this go and return to noticing sensations. Continue to breathe. Gently bring your awareness to the chest and heart region and notice your heartbeat. Observe how chest rises during the inhale and how the chest falls during exhale. Let go of any judgments that may arise. On the next out breath, shift the focus to your hands and fingertips. And observe the sensation there. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the sensations in your hands. Continue to breathe. Gently shift your focus to the neck, shoulder, and throat region. This is an area where we often have tensions. Be with the sensations there. It could be tightness, rigidity, pain. Let go of any thoughts or stories you're telling about this area. As you breathe, you may notice tension rolling off your shoulders. Continue to breathe. On the next out breath, shift your focus to the scalp, head, and face, and observe all the sensations occurring there. Notice the movement of the air as you breathe into or out of the nostrils. As you exhale, you might notice the softening of any tension you may be holding. Continue to breathe. Now let your attention expand out to include the entire body as a whole. Bring into your awareness the top of your head down to the bottom of your toes. And feel the sensations throughout your body. On the next breath, move your attention from the bottom of the toe to the top of the head and observe the sensations in your entire body. In a couple of seconds from now, we will be coming to the end of this practice. Continue to breathe. Breathe deeply. Exhale fully. Taking in the energy of this practice. Before you open your eyes, consider setting an intention that this practice of building awareness will help you and everyone you come in contact with. Thank you for practicing mindfulness with me. Whenever you are ready, you may gently open your eyes and stay with the feeling for a couple of seconds. And whenever you are ready, please share your experience of how you found this practice. You may raise your hand and mute and speak, or you may type in the chat. Anyone would like to share their experience?
Yeah, I would like to share my experience. Hello.
Yes,
sir.
yeah.
Yeah. In fact, when we had to start, I had a very heavy throat. I mean, I was almost feeling like crying, you know. And by the middle of the meditation, it started to, you know, subside. And by the end, like it's almost 80% gone. So it's really it helps a lot.
Yeah.
And it helped me a lot over here. So yeah, I have actually one question when we talk of the sensations and all, and it might be very funny also. A lot of times, like, you know, we have those kind of beliefs and all के जैसे हम बोलते हैं ना कि आंख फड़क रही है, मतलब, you know, right है, left है, right is good, left is bad, something like this happens. So I feel those sensations all across the body, arms, legs, thighs, you know, eyes, even sometimes in the face. And I mean, like, I get carried away by it. कि हाँ, लेफ्ट है तो अच्छा है, होने वाला है, and अगर राइट है तो कुछ खराब होने वाला है. And lot of times I do kind of you know, relate that also. Means it turns out to be true as well. I want to get out of it. I mean, you know, I please just let me know how to get detached to these kind of beliefs and all. So
Yeah. Why would you want to get out of it? If you're feeling sensations in your body, just tune into them and see what's happening. And over a period of time, you will be able to decipher what those sensations mean. Like left eye फड़क रही है तो क्या हो रहा है, right हो रही है तो क्या हो रहा है. And you know, we all have our cues, and these are very powerful cues. These are not random cues. So my wife, you know, she has, whenever she has an itching sensation in her palm, there is some money inflow which happens, you know. So every different, for me, it is twitching in my thighs, you know. It could be different things. So my request to you would be not want to not have these sensations, but observe and start deciphering them. I'll share with you another instance that happened with me. There was once when I was working in my corporate career, I went. So normally every year in the April, May, June, the increments would happen. And I had gone to SDFC for some work for my home loan. And I said, while I'm there, why don't I increase my EMI installment amount, because the increment is going to happen, rather than spend that money. Maybe the higher EMI will get taken care of that from that increment. And I was feeling uneasy from inside, but I still went ahead and increased the EMI payment. And you know what happened that year? The increments didn't happen because the board decided that, you know, the company is not profitable and we're not going to do for the senior management. For the junior management it happened, but but the point is, my body was giving me signals that don't do the you know, increase in your EMI. And it is not random. I'll share with you in the group a study which has been done by University of Iowa, where they did fMRI scans on the brains of the people, and they had them play a card game using two decks, red deck and blue deck. And whoever was playing with the red deck was bound to lose money. Okay. And but the players didn't know this. This is how the game was set up. Cognitively, it is after 80th round that people started realizing that there is something wrong playing with the red deck. Interestingly, by the end of 50th round, they started getting a hunch that something is wrong, but they couldn't verbalize it. But the best part is, from the 10th round onwards, there were tiny sweat glands in the hands, you know, the palms started sweating. So if somebody could tune into their body, was aware of what's happening, after the 10th round, they could figure out that there is something wrong playing 10 with the red deck. But a hunch happened much later at the 50th round, and the cognitive recognition happened much later at the 80th round. So it is proven by science that body has that intelligence which can help us guide. which can guide us in taking decisions. It's just that because we have not learned that, it's not taught to us. There is no language to it. We tend to ignore it, and we just go with the mind. So there is a lot of science behind that, and that is my 2 bits to what you asked, Jagdeep. I'm not sure if this helps.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
And going back to your own question, like, when you increased the EMI and it did not happen. So, yeah, like your expectation or your mind told you that, yeah, it will happen, right? And then actually it did not happen. So that is where the conflict is, that
Yeah.
instead of getting all those cues and all, so you said that, no, I will go ahead with it. And then I'm sure, like, you might have felt bad, after that. So
Yeah, because
that's
my cash
problem.
flows got tight.
Correct. So that's the problem actually where we land up. But I agree with you that probably, like, if we decipher, I think 90% times they tend to be giving us the right cues.
Yeah, there is
Yeah.
tremendous amount of body intelligence. We just need to tune in, and that is what this practice is. And over a period of time, I have got much better in decision making because I now take decisions basis how I feel. There is a cognitive part, but there is also a part about how am I feeling. If I'm not feeling too good about taking a decision, then I just don't care. Go ahead. So there is a coherence which happens between your mind and body, and then the decisions are much better quality.
Thank you for clarifying. Thank you so much.
Ashish, last Saturday I mentioned I practiced 5 years for the mindfulness. So can I share within few minutes with all of you?
Sure, please.
Let me allow me to share the screen with all of you. How to share?
Yeah, you can.
Are you able to see this one?
Yeah.
My screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. This is the 5 years methodology, which is used in workplace organization, basically. Aichi Ohno, a Toyota engineer known as the father of 5 years, while the true origin of 5 years dates back to the 16th century with Venice shipbuilders. Anyway, but I use it for mindfulness. Regional words 5 years, Seri, Siton, Siso, Setsu, and Shitsuke, translated as sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. If you really see the basic meaning of these words, that means sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain, you can correlate with our mindfulness. And I really use these words or these practice, sort your feelings. I think Jagdeep ma'am can sort out, if you really concentrate on your mind, concentrate on the feelings of your mind, you can sort out the feelings. That keep it in or set in order. I define sort like this. Begin by sorting your thoughts and emotions. Take time to recognize what you're feeling and thinking. Categorize them into different mental compartments, much like sorting items in a physical space. This can help bring clarity to your mind. Okay. Now these feelings you should be able to set in order. Happy, sad, energetic. Just you can compartmentalize your feelings properly. That is set in order. Then shine. Practice it. Pinch it properly. Give instructions to your mind. Just like cleaning and organizing your physical space. Those unwanted feelings, you should be able to keep out your mind. And happy minds, you can practice regularly. to keep in your mind, or keep in exactly the compartment you have decided to keep in that. This should be standardized. Practice it properly. Daily mind gym. Last time Ashish mentioned that mind gym is important, just like a bodybuilding. You have to strengthen your mind compartments, like you are going for a mind gym, and all this finally sustain all the practices. About 4, set in order, then sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. Sustain is the continuous practice of all about 4 practices. So I use such 5S for all my regular well-being.
Very
Thank you.
interesting framework, Deepakji.
Thank
Thanks for sharing.
That's
And
really great, because we use 5S at workplaces and
Yeah,
all.
at workplace, at work.
So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
this is a great simulation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
thank you for sharing, Deepakji. And thank you everyone for sharing their comments. Let's move on.
And
Yeah.
may
So a
I?
lot of appreciation, Deepakji, for what you shared. And so this is one building and tuning into the, yes, Captain Srikant.
Yeah. Firstly, thanks to Jagdeep madam for that question. Some signs giving some, I mean, there are rumors, maybe sometimes, maybe like Ashish Kumar ji said, it has got some relation to your physical and mental, behaviors as well. I had similar doubts in my mind. Like the other day, my palm was itching. At that time, I also thought some money will come. Like Ashish ji mentioned that his wife's palm, whenever it itches, they get some money. I also keep believing that, and I wish that too. But then I realized that it's not money that comes directly, because probably at this stage of life, money is not that much important. But then I have been realizing that I keep getting some opportunities to do some service in some form or the other. Post-retirement, I have joined Rotary. And to correlate, like Ashish Kumar said, whenever my palm used to itch, now that he mentioned that it must be having some kind of a relation to what actually happens. And now I'm putting 1 and 1 together, and now I'm finding 11 instead of 2, because yes, on such occasions, I have had extra opportunities to serve the society better. So that's why now I agree fully to Ashish Kumar's
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Group Captain
तो
Srikant.
गालिब का शेर है, दिल बहलाने के लिए ख्याल है गालिब अच्छा है.
Thank you. And thanks, Deepak ji, for 5S also.
Thank you.
And Ashish ji, with respect to the meditation, guided meditation that you took us through, it's been quite some time that I think after Art of Living's guided meditations, it's been a year or so. This is the first time I have undergone a guided meditation, though I keep doing it myself. But then the way you took us through today was amazing, really. I had some kind of tension with the additional responsibility given for a governor's official visit tonight in our club. I was having some kind of attention, but then I did not miss your session. So when we went through that meditation, I'm telling you, you could probably see the change in my face and the body language also. But thanks a ton. Really.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that feedback and sharing, Group Captain Srikant. See, one of the things is, yes, Brigadier Vidar.
This superstition, sometimes I feel I've got some positive value in it also. Like the group captain was saying, that when my palm itches, I feel that something will come to me. Now I rise with that hope that yes, my palm is itching today and something will come to me. Even if I don't get something, my psychology changes in such a manner that in whatever I get, I see getting something in it.
Absolutely.
What happens to me is irrelevant. What I see in it is irrelevant. I'm not getting money, but I'm not getting unhappy because I'm not getting money, but I am happy because I feel that whatever has happened has given me some learning, has given me some opportunity,
Yeah.
money will come. Where is the problem? Huh?
Staying
So,
positive is really
yeah, so these superstitions have a lot of positive values.
Yeah. There is a lot of science to it, Brigadier Vidur, and this
Provided
is,
you use it properly.
and that is the reason it is not taught as a language, because for different people, the same sensation may mean different things. So for Ruchi, it may mean money, but for Group Captain Srikanth, it may mean opportunity. And
True.
money and opportunity are, the different sides of the same coin, maybe.
Yeah, correct.
So that is by tuning into the body language and having our own interpretation of what this means is the where the intelligence comes in. So we need to,
Yeah,
each one of us has to have our own interpretation of the sensations that we're having.
absolutely.
And Ashish ji, on a lighter note, now next time you increase your EMIs when your wife's palm starts itching.
So on a very positive note, I am now financially free, debt free. So no more EMIs.
I was just joking.
No, I was, but no. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, but there are signals, and once we learn tune, and this practice is something which I found very important. There are many messages which happen during this practice. One is, you're talking about the tension, and you realize that no sensation is permanent. So tension also comes and goes. It's not like we are permanently in tension. And when we realize the impermanence of sensations, then we are able to understand that anitya, everything is anitya on a practical level rather than just at a theoretical level. So thank you very much for your active participation and sharing. Let's move on with the session. And this is the Iowa study which I was talking about. I will share it in our group. And body scan, as I mentioned, is one of the ways to tune into our intelligence. And there are many benefits. I don't need to get into details of this, but there are many personal benefits and professional benefits. And there are many people who have risen to the top without being technically sound. One example that comes to my mind is Rusi Modi, who was the managing director of Tata Steel. He was a BA. And he was running one of the largest steel plants in India. So it is emotional intelligence rather than technical competence which can lead you to the top. And now we come to the scarf model, but I'm not sure if we have time. Maybe we'll do the scarf is a brilliant model, which is given by Dr. David Roth. Maybe we'll just do one of the 5 that is there, which is status, and the others maybe we'll cover in a separate session. And in this, he talks about how we run towards rewards and we run away from punishment. And what are rewards and punishment is what we are going to see in the scarf model. We'll do status now because this is what we will have time for. And everything he says in our life is driven by our desire to improve our status. And anything that increases our status is considered as a reward, and anything that reduces our status is considered as a threat. And the threat is a very serious threat because our mind takes it as a threat to our survival because it is rooted into the history of human evolution. So let us look at this in the terms of a workplace where a promotion is a reward because it improves your status. An increment is a reward because it improves your status. And anything that takes away your status is considered a threat. I'll share one something that happened in one of my organizations where I used to work with. We moved from a small office where everybody had cabins to a very large office where the CEO decided to do away with the cabins. And one of the CXOs felt so threatened by this that he was like, he just couldn't bear with the fact because he was very used to calling people into his cabin, have them stand and talk to them. Now there is no cabin, so he felt that his complete status is gone. And then he had his own funny way of dealing with it. So then he would take meeting rooms and then sit there and do one, so on and so forth. But we go to great lengths to protect our status. Another example could be, that if my boss speaks to me one-to-one about something that I need to do, compare that when he speaks to me, gives me the same message on something that I need to improve on in a department meeting which has got 10 people. And imagine if he gives me the same message in a town hall where there are 1,000 people that I need to improve. In the last example, probably I'll go and commit suicide because I have been humiliated. I'll feel I have been humiliated, and it has impacted my status. Now, the status plays out in many different ways in our life. Have you seen somebody who's driven by status? Have you seen this in your own life? How does this work out and how can we deal with it? How can we deal with it? I'll share with you. But any challenges or thoughts you have on, any realization, any insights you've got about how status drives our decisions and our thinking? Have I been able to explain myself or so?
I haven't understood your question, sir.
हाँ मुझे लगा. So what Dr. David Rock says is our status determines almost all of our thinking and actions, and anything that improves our status is something which makes us happier. Anything that threatens our status can almost get us wild, or completely lose it. So imagine getting married. Normally a status of a marital person is better than that of a bachelor. Okay, getting a job may be better than becoming an entrepreneur. Bigger house improves my status. I may not need it, but it improves my status. So I mindlessly go for a bigger house. Bigger car, how does it help in Pune, where these streets are so clogged? But I want bigger car because it improves my status. Mindless consumption happening because we want to improve our status. And if we lose something, then like when I lost my father, my mom lost her status as a married woman. She became a widow. So that then you feel very threatened. What's going to happen to me? Who's going to take care of me? So anything that improves status makes us happier. Anything that takes away or reduces our status is a cause of great anxiety, stress, and unhappiness.
Sir, is it like this that सबसे बड़ा रोग क्या कहेंगे लोग?
Yeah, partly, yes. Yes. So yes, that it works that way also. So and there may lie the solution. What Dr. David Rock gives is, rather than be guided what other people are saying, and comparing ourselves forever with what other people have in terms of increment, job, position, and car, house, etc. You see whether you are getting better with your own standard or not. So he says, when you are playing that game of getting better compared to your own self, you will be happy. But when you are comparing yourself with other people and status in the eyes of other people, you will be unhappy. So that is, in a way, my interpretation of what Dr. David Rock says. It may not strictly be his interpretation, but this is how I interpret it. Brigadier Vidur, does that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
To an extent.
Okay. Please ask any questions, any doubt.
No, my what I'm thinking is, you see, I right from the beginning, from the childhood, I have been always taught that when you progress, it is good. When there is a regression, it is bad.
Correct.
So that mindset is, it is there all through my life with me. And whenever I see, when I imagine something also, it did not happen. When I imagine also something, I am actually in my imagination, I am living that particular instance. Why is there a fear in mind? Like I used to be out, I served outside, I was in the army. So when I left from home, I remember my parents never bothered for next 15 days. Why? Because I would go to my place of work in about 4-5 days when I was in a far-flung places, and then the letter would come back in another 4-5 days. So till 10 days, they're not bothered. After 10 days, if they don't get anything from me, then the botheration starts. Today, when my son goes, when he's across the Mundwa Chowk here, which is 3 minutes, I immediately want to know whether Mundwa Chowk signal is okay. Is there a traffic jam there or not? So what I'm trying to say is the media, the technological advancement is also this, and I have started imagining certain things in that time frame, and that imagination I am living. So therefore, there is a fear. There is a fear of status going down. There is a fear of status going up. And like what you said, ki log kya kahenge? Tomorrow this happens, what will happen to me? That tomorrow I will control that problem also. I am not thinking today. I get adjusted to water gets adjusted to all levels. I
Correct.
also get adjusted to all levels. But all those who retired from services in the sense any service. Till yesterday you were the boss. Today you have no place in the house. Your wife says, come on, Bhai is coming, you get into that house. Nobody yesterday in my office could have told that. There everything was based on how I function. If I am coming to the office at 8 o'clock, Bhai will come at 7 o'clock. Whereas here that is not so. The status is there. But then I get adjusted to it. So adjustment is the answer to these issues, I think.
So, Dr. Brigadier Vidar, if I hear you right, you talked about progression and regression, and that progression and regression is what the status is. That's what Dr. David Rock also is saying. Only thing he's saying is if you want to be happy, do that progression regression analysis on yourself versus you versus other people.
Absolutely.
So as long as we are doing that, we are fine. If we do it in comparison with other people, we'll always be living our life outside in versus inside out. And, we can get in this trap, which is what you mentioned about that, so this happens, people retire and, you are a CEO, you are a senior officer, and then next day you don't have anything. And it's a big jolt to people to adjust to that. So, but if we are mentally prepared, we are aware of how status is playing out in our life, and we live consciously, then then we are better prepared to deal with it rather than have a reaction around it. I didn't get the fear part correctly. What were you sharing there?
So I was trying to say that all these fears are for regression, that tomorrow what will happen to me. Why is there a depression in your mind sometimes, or you feel bad about something which will happen tomorrow? Is there a fear? Like you said, when your father demised, your mother felt bad because she felt threatened that tomorrow what will happen to me.
Correct.
He was a great support to me. Will I get that support from the other people around me? She wasn't very sure. But the next day onwards, she realized that yes, I mean, he was definitely a great support. But even without him, I'm okay. So when she starts getting that confidence in the environment that she is following, probably will come back to normal. That is what I'm saying. So the fear will come down when you adjust yourself to the environment.
And there is a great strategy I learned to deal with that, Brigadier Vidar, which is, we worry about what can go wrong.
Correct.
But let us replace that worry with trust that things will go right.
Will go right. Absolutely.
Okay. And
Absolutely.
I bet my last dollar that more things go right than they go wrong. But we spend so much time worrying about what can go wrong that we don't focus on what can go right. So
Correct.
replacing what can go wrong with trust that things will go right, it requires practice. But gratitude, again, I'm repeating myself, gratitude is a very powerful way of making that shift in, from what could go wrong to things will go right. So trusting that things will go
True.
right is a big way.
True. True.
But thank you for bringing that up, Brigadier Brother.
So just one question on the last words which you said, that trusting that things will go wrong, things
Trusting
will
that-
go one day, So we do that, and sometimes, like we do lose our patience also in certain things. So, and that's where, like, the emotions, they go up and down, and then everything comes together, right? Matlab, superstitions we aa jate hai, and apna, we also sometimes feel that, am I, like, what you said, emotional fool, ke bhi hum log, ye decision liya hai, right hai, wrong hai. So, yeah, that's that's all
Yeah.
what goes on
No,
and
sure,
on.
sure. I appreciate what you're sharing, Jagdeep. But what I'm saying is there are things within our control and things what outside our control. हम जो तुम्हारे आउटसाइड कंट्रोल में होता है उसके बारे में चिंता करते हैं. मैं ये कह रहा हूँ जो आउटसाइड कंट्रोल है उसको ट्रस्ट करो. आपको जो करना है, जो हम कर सकते हैं वो हम करें. बट जब चीजें बाहर हो गई तब आप क्या करोगे? तो उसकी जब चीजें आउट ऑफ कंट्रोल है तब वरी करने के बजाय ट्रस्ट करो कि ठीक हो जाएंगे. एंड दैट वे मेबी वी कैन इन्फ्लुएंस द आउटकम. क्योंकि वरी करके भी आप कुछ कर तो नहीं पा रहे. कम से कम ट्रस्ट करके we and there is a lot of science now which says that our thoughts determine the outcomes. So it's been validated. So by worrying, maybe we are giving rise to a negative outcome, but by trusting we are changing the outcome to become better, to become the way we want it to be. So देवी यथा दृष्टि तथा सृष्टि. तो
Sure.
बहुत बहुत कुछ उसमें प्रैक्टिस लगता है.
Yeah, and sometimes I feel I'm foolishly optimistic, आपके इस बात से. तो
So that is
it's
that
never
is the
ending
crux of the game.
discussion.
You have to be optimistic.
Yeah. But it's great discussions. Thank you so much. I mean, it's really, really good to be part of this group.
Thank you, Jagdeep.
Thank you so much.
You add a lot of value with your questions. Yeah, and your sharing. Yeah.
जी कुछ कहना चाहते हैं.
हाँ जी, दीपक जी.
Yes, in this matter, Brigadier Sir, you might have read 7 Habits of the Highly Effective People by
Yes.
Stephen Covey. So what
Yes.
he said that you should be principally oriented.
Correct.
If you do have really some norms and principles to handle emotions, to handle problems, so that it will be easy to handle the emotions also, or even our behavior also.
Absolutely. And I saw your chat. You absolutely said right, that circle of concern and some circle of influence.
Yeah.
You improve your circle of influence, you will keep more things under your control.
Yes.
So I agree with you, absolutely.
Brigadier Vidar, there is a comment for you from Dr. Juvi. Would you like to respond to that?
One second, I'll just see. I'm a little bad at
Dr. Juvi,
yeah.
would you like to unmute and speak?
Yes, no.
It's a rather long comment.
Yeah, can you ask this question, Dr. Jui?
It's not a.
Okay, I'll read it for you, Brigadier Sir.
Yeah, I'll be great.
Yeah, she says, Brigadier Vidur, what you experienced in your initial days was the fear of unknown. If I have understood it rightly, you have very aptly explained that adjustment is an answer to most of the situations, and to add to it, we need to keep in mind that there is a very thin demarcation line between adjustment and sacrifice, and have to see that other person should not be taken for granted.
Yeah, I agree. Other person should never be taken for granted. But my point was different. My point was that sometimes you lose your senses or you become emotionally overwhelmed because of certain fear, uh, which is not in really in your hands. It's like what Mr. Ashish was bringing out, that things might go wrong is my problem, but things will go right should be my understanding, and then my fear will reduce. So when I fear, I fear myself, and no other person is really responsible for it. It is my own emotions which have come out. So I am not fearing because of somebody else's some action where where somebody else is involved. Somebody else may be involved to carry out that that thing because of which my fear is. But my fear is because of my emotion.
It's very important. It's very important
Yeah.
that we.
My fear is because I fear or I feel that that individual will do harm to me by any way. Okay, and it is my creation. It may not happen. Most of the times you will find it does not happen. Most of the times your fears are wrong. Sometimes they do become true, but most of the time they're wrong.
Sir, overthinking may cause such type of.
Yeah, I mean, we have to control anything.
Maybe one of the reasons.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that is why overthinking also comes with the technology. That's what I was trying to say. That overthinking and tensions 25, 35 years back was, my parents were worried 15 days later. I am worried 15 minutes later.
And I think you made a very interesting point, Brigadier Vidur, that things may not actually fear, things may go wrong, but they may not. So that's another reason why we should trust that they will go right. So at least you're so much better equipped. And thank you everybody who has been sharing in the chat, through questions, through discussion. We're now coming towards the end of the session, so we'll bring this to a close. But before that, I'd like to share there's one thing about status and how change in status can be considered. So how do you deal with the status changes? And there I found, inspiration in Bhagwan Ram. The kind of status he lost was possibly the worst way. Than from becoming a crown prince to living in jungle is a big loss of status. And how he calmly dealt with it. And there is a lot of inspiration we can take from it. And his life didn't become worse off, with the change in status. It kept progressing. It took time, but progressively got better. And he is now, thousands of years later, we remember a person like Maryada Purushottam, who lived and walked the earth and did things right. So the status may change, but if we have the right mindset of being true to our duty, of being bold, of being courageous, of doing whatever we can do in the situation, the life keeps getting better and better. So on that note, I would like to bring the session to a close. Thank you everybody for participating. Our last session in this series will be on next Saturday, where we're going to conclude the series. There are some parts which we have been missed out. I'll schedule some time and we will cover. There is something from mindfulness session that has been missed out, and from today's session also. So we'll schedule another time, and maybe on 12th or 13th April, and we'll conclude the session. So thank you once again, everybody. I'll request you to share your takeaways in the mindful living groups so that people can benefit from it and it will motivate them to join the sessions. Dharmesh, you want to share something?
Yeah, sir, I think it was definitely, so unfortunately I couldn't attend the initial 2 sessions, so I had to use a recording, but this one definitely was very profound and a lot of knowledge shared by all the learned people like Vidur sir and Captain Srikant ji and Jagdeep ji as well, and obviously Deepak sir as well, and Jui ji. A lot of knowledge actually. So obviously, a lot of things you are not aware of, and obviously it will help you deal with the emotions, obviously, which comes and go. And as you correctly said, those are not permanent, right? Sometimes you feel good, but I think after maybe few seconds you will feel down. So how to tackle that? Definitely, these are the very profound knowledge I think which I have gained today, and definitely it will help me deal with that. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Dharmesh. And once again, request everybody to share your takeaways from the session in the Mindful Living
Sir,
group.
can I ask you one small question before we
Of
part?
course.
Just half
Of
a
course.
second question.
Of course, Brigadier Vidar. We have all
What
the
is-
time.
What is the magic? What is the magic in this time of 11:11?
Really, I was also eager
I also
to
thought
launch.
that.
I also thought that.
So I don't know, Brigadier Vidar, to be very frank, but there is some association with the angels. I'm not knowledgeable about angels, so I can't answer that question. But if you Google on 11:11, you might find something. So it is,
Okay.
and it is just to get people's attention, rather than 11
No,
o'clock.
no, it's a proper. It's a proper thing. Sir. Yeah.
So,
It's a magical time.
yeah, and if
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
Google
it's
and you
it's
find
angel
something,
numbers. Yeah.
it's angel number. It's an angel's number.
Yeah,
And
I
it
got a
represents-
cousin. I got a cousin whose birthday is 11 November.
Oh.
And I remember on 11 November 2011, I rang her up exactly at 11 o'clock, 11 minutes and 11 seconds. So she said, were you waiting for this time? I know. So thank you so much.
If anyone finds anything about 11:11, please share. I haven't done deep research, but I understand there's something to do with angels.
Sir, it represents new beginnings, leadership, spirituality, what we are doing now. So that's what it means.
All ones probably
All
is
ones.
Our
Yeah.
beginnings and this.
the
Yeah.
all number ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you.
once
Thank you,
again,
Ashish.
Ashish
Thank you.
ji.
Thank you.
Have a nice
Bye.
day.
Thank you.
Thanks once again, Ashish ji, Vidur
Thank you.
sir,
Thank you.
and of course Deepak ji
Thank you
also
all.
for all the inputs you people have given,
Yeah.
and Dharmesh ji too.
Yeah.
Thanks a ton.
Thank you.
See you.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you next
Thank you.
Saturday.
Yes,
Yes,
next
sir.
Saturday. 11:11.
11:11.
11. Good day.
Good
Good
day.
day. Sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.